So falling birth rates in the West have been blamed on, well, the answer is all of them.
OK, we're asking, is wanting kids in your genes? And if so, could it be that some of us are missing that gene? Charles Darwin, as I mentioned earlier, would have us believe that everybody wants to reproduce. All organisms, including humans, are genetically predisposed to replicate. We have to pass on our genes, or we'd die out if we didn't. And I have to tell you that the vast majority of scientists agree with him. Most, but not all. Harvard University psychologist Steven Pinker, he reckons humans have sex for lots of different reasons that have nothing to do with making babies. We are not 100% genetically wired to reproduce. Having kids isn't the be-all and end-all of human life. We've moved beyond the animals. What I'm trying to find out from the panel and you lot at home is this. While some people choose not to have babies, which is a conscious decision, are others simply missing the desire to start a family in the first place? You watch as your friends clutter up the planet with babies, and yet you feel no desire or interest in doing the same. If that's you, give us a call. Do you believe your mates when they tell you, don't worry, you'll feel different when you're the right person? Or you'll change, or some other patronising, condescending nonsense?
Bravo.
Thank you. I find it fascinating, right, that some of my gay friends, male gay friends, are desperate for kids, while others appear to have absolutely no interest whatsoever. Are they proof of a missing gene? Now, Reg here, my researchers tell me, is not that keen on kids himself. Is that a deliberate choice, or just that you've never felt the need or desire to have children?
No, it's very deliberate, I think.
It's a conscious choice.
Conscious, because you hold them in your arms one day, and then you're at the police station.
Yeah, can I just say, Reg, the reason for that is you shouldn't really nick other people's babies.
Brilliant, brilliant.
You see,
you can't top him.
You can't, because
he's the king.
Now, Hardeep and I were talking about this just before the break, and I said to him, did you suddenly feel an urge to start a family? And you said...
I can't remember a time where I didn't want to be a parent, to be a father, to have a family. I mean, going back to when I was 8 or 9, I remember I was always going to have children, I was always going to have a family. But I think you're making a very interesting point here about whether we are genetically predisposed towards not having children.
Or some people might
Some
be,
people.
Yeah, a missing gene.
I don't think that is yet the case. I think that may become the case. But I think people choose not to have children because of a lifestyle. So, I mean, look, Ricky...
No, honestly, I cross my heart on this. I've just never, ever felt any desire to ever have a child.
Is it not also about the things you'd have to give up, the lifestyle that you have created?
I just never felt it. Not when I was 10, 15, 20... 30, 40 years has never...
But
I never woken
you never
up
get
or thought,
to the point
I'd
where you
love a
think,
child.
oh, not another holiday where I'm going to catch fish.
No.
You don't get... You see, when I didn't...
Mad?
I didn't want kids...
He would say that if he had a few good holidays where he caught fish, maybe, you know.
Still hope. In my 20s, I never wanted kids. You know,
Right.
I absolutely determined I wasn't going to have children because I had a great job, I had a great lifestyle.
That's the conscious decision, though.
Yes, and I absolutely... And then I got to sort of 35 and thought, well, as a woman, so you have to make the decision. I thought men don't have to, really. They can keep putting it off, but I thought, I've got to make a decision here. And in the end, I thought, well, just give it a go, really. Because otherwise I might always regret it. And so I decided, and then, of course, I found I really like having children. I mean,
I know other women like that have chosen to have children because they thought that if they didn't, they'd never get the chance, but didn't really have an overwhelming desire.
Because I think, number one, we have contraception. Women on the whole didn't used to have a choice. We got pregnant, so we have this choice now. That's the problem. And people are getting married later, people are having... So you build up a life, you've got to give up.
Can you see the difference between those that choose not to have children and those where it just doesn't come into their consciousness?
Absolutely, because I was like you, so I do absolutely understand that, and I do understand, but I also know a lot of people who don't want to give up the holidays. But
But there's a wider point here, Matthew, which is whether you are, as you seem to be, I'm still in shock that you're in your 40s. There are those who claim to be genetically predisposed towards not having children, and those that make a choice not to. I think for both those cases, as a society and a world, we really need to start engaging with those people, because I think people get a really hard time. Women particularly get a hard time because they don't want to have kids. Well, do you know what? Look around. Okay. We're not that brilliant with kids that we can afford to encourage everyone to have them.
Well said, well said. Off to the police station, as Reg said. Let's throw it open to you. Time is short, so what do people say, Kirsty?
First, we have Linda on line 2.
Morning, Linda.
Good morning, Matthew.
Once again, I have to ask a viewer, do you have any idea about what I'm talking about today? Does any of it chime with you?
Well, it struck a real chord with me. I have never had any desire to have children at all. I feel a pain. I want to say I'm a nice person. I don't go around scaring kids. I don't keep their footballs if they come over the fence. I've simply never had any desire to have a child.
Can I ask how old you are?
I'm 44. I've been very happily married for 9 years. I got married when I was 36. It would have been possible. No desire whatsoever. Feel very happy not having children. It's not a lifestyle choice. I've simply never felt that desire.
So do you think there may be some kind of gene that you don't have and that maybe I don't have?
Well, this is really interesting to me because, yes, perhaps that is the case. That is interesting because I think, especially as a woman, I kind of think it's one of those things you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You're supposed to get married, you're supposed to have a child.
To become a complete woman. To become a complete woman. You'll never be a complete woman until you have children.
Well, that's right. So I must be some selfish old bat.
Yeah.
With a self-centered life.
I see something a bit controversial, which is I think some couple, because obviously the men who feel like this, some couples don't have children, because I think some men fear losing their wives or girlfriends to the children, because when you have children, women can become quite obsessed by their babies, and their husband is like, hello, I'm here.
But can I just say, you've won me over slightly with this, because just thinking about it, when you meant to have kids when you're really young, genetically, and you're sort of 14, 15, 16. Yeah. Now, if women are waiting till later, I wonder whether that isn't actually changing the genetic makeup.
Indeed. OK, Linda, thank you for that. I want to get one more if we can.
Sharon's on line 3.
Sharon, good morning.
Morning.
Do you get it? Do you think there's a gene that could be missing in some people?
I do. I totally agree. I'm 42, never had children, never been married, had a very long-term relationship. But just never felt an overwhelming desire to have children. And strangely enough, my sister's 10 years older than me. She's never married, had long-term relationships, but has also never had children. We came from an incredibly happy family. I'm one of 3, so it's not like I had an upbringing that was, so awful that I didn't want to have children. Just never, ever felt the desire.
Do you ever think maybe I'll get the desire tomorrow or next year or the year after that? Does that ever go around your head?
What Lowry said actually hit home with me, because I did, when I got to 38, 39, I felt exactly the same. I thought, well, OK, for men, they never have to make a choice. With me, it's, now I need to sit down and think about it. If I don't think about it now, it's going to be too late. But again, I just thought, well, if I don't feel the need and I desperately don't want to have children, why have children? And I've just carried on. And
£250 child trust fund?
Yeah, well, I'm paying for it, taxpayer, yeah, for people
I tell you what, when you hear the creationists, and I get quite incensed by them, because I think a lot of what Charles Darwin said made sense. It does, I'm sitting here at the moment thinking, well, actually, maybe it is 1-0 to the anti-Darwin lobby here, because he says we all have to do it. But you guys seem to prove him wrong. Thank you. Thank you. And that is the panel part of this morning's show. Done and dusted. We've got Eco Queen Jenny Lee Grace still to come, of course. But that does mean it's goodbye to you, Reg.
Oh, my pleasure.
You enjoyed yourself? Fantastic. Fantastic. Best of luck with the Shawshank Redemption. Catch him if you can. He's on at London's Wyndham's Theatre until Valentine's Day next year. And it's a really, really wonderful show. Larry and Hardy, a really, really wonderful week. Thanks for your company. Ladies and gents, you're appreciated for a panel. Thank you.